Beautiful Friday morning, and we give God praise for the gift of life. I always appreciate God, for each morning I wake up with me and my family, because it is a privilege to be alive. It's not one of those things. So we thank God for this beautiful Friday morning. I welcome you all to Youth Chat Room on this platform of Chat Room with Dr. Victory, with me, Dr. Mrs. Victory Ikechukwu, as your host. Remember, every Friday we have this teaching called Youth Chat Room on this platform of Chat Room with Dr. Victory. By the grace of God is a weekly teaching that I titled Youth Chat Room, where I use this medium to bring short teachings on some issues that affect the youth of today and to show them a way out. This teaching is specifically for youth lovers, parents to youth teachers, youth leaders in, some both Christian and social organization, youth trainers, etc. Anybody that has anything to do with the youth, this teaching is specifically for you. Also, if you have a youth around you, you can listen to the teaching and encourage the person, he or she, to listen to the teachings also. And the person, will be changed and will be blessed. Because on this youth chat room, I have a mandate, and that mandate is to reach out, to our youth by touching their heart through my teachings. I love youths. I can say that I have a calling, to help the youth, because I was once a youth, and by the grace of God, I have two teenage sons, and I have had in some, religious organizations on dealing with the youth. So this my teaching comes handy, to be a tremendous help to the youth of our today out there. Yeah, the vision of this, my teaching, actually is to show the youth that there is a way out of any situation they might find themselves. Because we find out that most times youths, some situation they find themselves in, they tend to think that there is no way out. Also, the mission is to let the youths know that this world is not as difficult as it seems. That is a better place after all. Most of the time, especially, just like I said, I was once a youth. I know maybe you watching me right now, you are a youth or you were once a youth. With this teaching, you know that this, there's a solution out there. So this world is not that difficult. You find out most of the time when you're the youthful age, you think that this world is a difficult place. It is not. So I encourage you to, let people know about this page, the chat room with Dr. Victory. Encourage them to like the page, let them share, let them comment, let them, view, let them, tag their friends along. And also, if you have any questions, you can send your message across. If you check the idea is on the screen, my cell number is there. My email, you send your questions, and appropriate answers will be given to you. Remember, I am all out to be a blessing to people and to my generation. Okay, that is by the way. Let's go to the topic of today. The topic of today is mentality stroke mindset. Mentality stroke mindset. Mindset is a set of, the dictionary meaning of mindset is a set of attitude or fixed ideas that somebody has that are often difficult to change. Set of attitude, my fixed ideas, fixed like this, is already fixed, it's difficult to change. You say, but it could be changed if the person wants. That is, the meaning of mindset. Then let's go to mentality. But I think, they mean the same thing, but I'm just trying to explain it because I said mentality stroke mindset. But as we go along the teaching, I'll be using mostly the word mindset than mentality, but they all mean the same thing. What you have conceived in your mind and you believe is true, and you're holding tenaciously to it, don't want to let go. Even when somebody is trying to convince you that this thing is wrong or is not right, you want to hold tenaciously to it. It's very, very dangerous, especially, in the life of a youth. Why are we talking about the youth? Because the youth are the leaders of tomorrow. They are the parents of tomorrow. So if we don't give them a good background, there will be problem tomorrow. Just like I keep using this example in most of my teachings, that the children, even the youth, they are like a building, an edifice. if you don't give a building a good solid foundation, no matter how beautiful that building is, in the near future, definitely that building will start having problem, and then it will be very, very late. So let's go to mentality. I've explained mindset. Mentality, this has to do with your mind, or connected to your mind, what is happening in your mind. Remember I said what you have conceived in your mind, and you're holding tenaciously to it, whether it's right or wrong, but you personally, you believe that it's right, and you're holding on to it, and most of the time you're making mistake out of that. It also involves the process of your thinking, the way you think. I want to think like this, nobody can change it. But most of the time, it might not be the right thinking. It also means the particular attitude or way of thinking of a person or a group of persons. Yes, you can find out that most people, you find that why I put group there, like even some places, some communities, some nations, some states, some provinces, that they have this mentality, the way they believe. We find out that most of the nations that were colonized, by the colonial masters, even despite that they have gotten their independence, we come to the realization that they're still having the mindset of slavery, the mindset of colonialism, because it's been conceived in their mind. Despite that they've gotten their independence, they've gotten their freedom, they are free from colonial rule, but they're still having that colonization mindset. It's not good. You see, that's why this teaching is coming to be of a help, especially to the youth, because there are some things that you must have conceived in your mind. You think that is true, but it's not true, and it's holding you bound to making progress in life. Okay, we can also say that in your mind is where your destiny can be produced. Oh my goodness, this is a very important point. That's why I'm bringing this teaching by the grace of God to help our youth. The way you think affects you and is not good, because you find out that most of the time we limit ourselves in our mindset, in our thinking. You don't even know, because there's a saying that says that whatever you think a lot, you ponder about too much, you give life unknown to you. So even if it's a problem, you're thinking so much about that problem cannot be solved because you are giving it life. That's why most of our religious leaders or priests or pastors will tell you about positive thinking. Think good things. Don't think about bad things, because whatever you think will come to pass. Remember, the Bible says above us, whoever asks or think. So anything you ask, God will do. Anything you think, also He will do, whether good or bad. And also there's a place in the Bible also says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So with your thinking poverty, you will be like that. Let's proceed. It said it is also where your destiny can be produced. Oh my goodness. When I, in my course of study, when I realized this, I say, oh my goodness. That's why I said, even me that is teaching is by the wisdom of God and by the grace of God. I am not perfect. I learn every day. I'm a very teachable person. That's one thing. Most of the time we find out that we just, limit ourselves by the 4 walls of the university. No. You need to diversify. You need to read a lot, read social books, read religious books, read scientific books, just read, try to, advance and develop your mind. Not only thinking about things, thinking about your limitation, thinking about the way things limit you. So you have to work on your mind. What are you thinking about? Is it a good thing? It will come to pass. If it's a bad thing, it will come to pass as well. And that is very scary, because the bad ones will definitely come to pass as well. Also, he said your mindset is the machine that charts the course of your life and future. Oh my goodness, your mindset. Remember, they used to say that where you are today is as a result of what you thought about years back. So where you are right now, do you like it? So that means you need to change. You need to change the way you think so that you can move on, so that you can move ahead. So stop thinking about failure. Stop thinking about limitation. Stop thinking about lack of progress. Remember, we're talking about, your mindset. Also, he said your mindset also has a great, helps in a great essence for you to fulfill your destiny on earth. Oh my goodness. Remember, our destiny is what God brought us here to do. There is no mistake. Even if, you know, your biological parents, they were not legally married and you were brought, you know, into this world, there is still a purpose from God for you to accomplish. Nobody is a mistake from God. Everybody that is here on the planet Earth is here for a purpose from our Maker, our Heavenly Father in heaven. So I put down some important points for us to know about your mindset. This mindset is very, very important. Remember, we're talking to our youth. Our youth need to know this because most of them, they allow their background to limit them. They're busy comparing themselves. I don't know why I didn't come from a rich background. You know, by the grace of God, my husband is a minister of the gospel. He's always using this as an example. He said, when you think so much about your background, your back will be on the ground. Most of these rich, can say so-called rich people we know in the world all over, most of them didn't come from wonderful background, but their mindsets were wonderful. They were thinking about what they want to achieve. A very good example is Nelson Mandela of South Africa. That man was in prison. Remember one of his quotes, people are now using it these days. When he was in prison, he said that he knows then that he is in prison, but that his mind is not in prison. Oh my goodness, that is awesome. You see, you can even say that then it was in the time of apartheid. And you know, the black prisoners, they were not being taken care of like the white prisoners. They said even their food, the food they give the whites is not the same. But that's, by the way, what I'm trying to say, you know, despite the gruesome treatment that they were being given in the prison, it didn't limit his mindset. He said that he knows that his body is in the prison, but his mind is not in the prison. And by the grace of God, when he was released, he brought freedom to his nation. That's what I'm talking about this morning. Our youth out there, please don't allow your present environment or present situation where you are to deprive you of your wonderful future that is waiting for you. You find out that most youth, they commit suicides because of what is happening around. You know, most of them, because of the way things are so difficult, some of them will be, you know, having suicidal thoughts. Some will even go to the point of committing suicide. That is not good, because you don't even know what awaits you. Okay, remember I said my teachings are always very illustrative and with examples to encourage people. I want to bring this example about a guy, you know, that was imprisoned. You know, I don't really know why God is bringing these examples of prison. Remember, I used Nelson Mandela of South Africa, and I'm bringing another prison example. But before then, let me just explain something. One can be not in a so-called prison environment and still be in prison. You can be in prison in your mind. The way you think is still a prison. So as you're hearing me this morning, whatever prison you might find yourself, you can come out. And nobody will bring you out. You will bring yourself out. That's why this teaching is coming to help you to bring yourself out from that prison where you might have put yourself, or situation or circumstances or family background might have put you. But you can't decide to bring yourself out. So that's by the way, but it has to do with you. Let me go back to the example I was trying to bring initially on the man that was in prison. They wanted to give him a test, you know, to test him. They now said, okay, they didn't tell him how many the fences were. But you know, some prisons in some nations are very, very, you know, well fenced and secured so that, you know, the prisoners cannot escape. So they gave him a test. They said he should just keep jumping and jumping. And immediately he jumps out and gets to the road, he should go, that he's a free man. You know, it can imagine, you know, and that would have given him a total freedom, because when you are being released, you know, with documentation, you will be known as an ex-convict. Even when you want to contest elections or want to be involved in politics and otherwise, you know, in your nation, you'll be known as an ex-convict. But this guy, in his situation, if he would have succeeded, he would have been a free man. In his record, in his lifetime, there would not have been any record of him being once in prison. But this is coming to teach us, especially we youth out there, about impatience. This guy was highly impatient. Do you know that actually, but he didn't know, they didn't let him know, those fences, they said they were 50. They said this guy kept jumping and jumping, and you know, he was tired. He's like, oh my goodness, what is happening? This thing is not coming to an end. Do you know what happened in that story? This guy, and they said he has gotten to the 48th. And he didn't know. He started jumping back. He said this thing is not ending. He started jumping back to the prison. That is the problem of impatience. I remember I teach practical. I think one of the days I will teach on impatient, but that's just an example I'm bringing today. What am I trying to say? You have to, be persistent in whatever you are looking for in life. What is it that you want? You fight for it. You work for it. You be patient for it. Remember the example I used about Nelson Mandela. He spent 27 years in prison. It's not 27 days. It's not 27 months. But he was still there saying, despite that I'm there, my mindset is not in prison. And he came out one day. Humorously, my husband used to say that that guy is very foolish. That if it were for him, that even if he gets tired, as long as that mandate of jumping out was given to him, he will sleep there and sleep. Even if he's tired, he will sit down and rest and say, listen, even if it's 100 fences, I will jump them and go out. So that's the problem with most human beings, today, and even especially youth. They are impatient. They don't want to endure. You want to drive a car. You want to have all the good things of life. Yes, they are wonderful. They are good to have them. But those your parents that are producing them for you, that are providing those things for you, they were once a youth like you. They passed through, some of them even passed through, more difficult things than you. Like my husband used to tell my teenage son, he said they are really, really privileged. Some of the privileges they're having now that, he didn't have them then. He was telling my second son that is writing matric here in South Africa. I know some places they call it different names, but it's the exam that you take, when your final year in high school that will enable you to go to the university or college, or higher institution as the case may be. He was trying to tell them about the privileges they have. He said, now you have tap water and all that. He said, during their own time, he grew up in the village. They have to go to the river to go and fetch some water to take their bath, to go to school. But now everything, you just open the tap and everything is running. What am I trying to say? Most of our youth of today, you have a lot of comfort around you. Most of your parents, they take you to school with their car, or some they organize school transport for you. Then most of our parents in those days, like even I myself that's talking to you, we walked to school. There was no comfort, But look at what we are today. So what am I trying to say is mentality. Despite that time we were walking to school, our mentality was not working. Our mentality was flying. That's wonderful. Okay, let's go. Remember I said I put down some points on to note about the mindset. He said your mindset determines what you will become in life. What do you think? Do you think to be a better person? Or do you think to be a person that will be falling, to your parents, asking them for help, or your relations? He said, what do you fill your heart with is what you become. What do you fill your heart with? Do you fill your heart with negative things or positive things? If you fill your heart with poverty, you will definitely become poor. If you fill your heart with being a blessing to your generation, you will definitely become whatever you feel your heart. If you feel your heart with defeat, you will always be defeated. If you feel your heart with failure, you will always fail any exam. Whether you are in full-time for that course or on part-time, because in your mindset, you're already, thinking about failure and you will fail. Okay, that's point number one. Now, point number two, he said your mindset will determine how you act or your actions. Yeah, the way you behave. What do you think about yourself? Remember, there's a saying that says the way you dress is, will determine the way that you will be addressed. It's also the same thing. The way you think is the way people will treat you. Let me put that. That's my own now. The way you think is the way people will treat you. If you think that you're nobody, people will treat you like a nobody. If you think that you're somebody, people will treat you like that. Remember, one thing, about life is that people will always see you first before they hear you. They see you. How do you carry yourself? Do you carry yourself as somebody, who is proud of himself or herself? Or do you carry yourself as if you always feel that people are better than you? That's the way people will see you. Life has to do with you. You have to make your life the way you want it to be. Okay, so when you believe that you'll be successful in life, you'll be behaving it immediately. I will. It might not be happening now, but I will. And it definitely come to pass. You have to do that. Don't see yourself in your mind as someone who will be struggling in life. It will definitely happen. Or somebody who people will always be better. It will be. And one thing with life, you don't even know that the stage or where you are in life is somebody else's prayer point. Somebody wants to be where you are. One thing about life is that You will always be better than somebody, and somebody else will always be better than you. You know, sometimes we don't know about this. When you know about this, it will help you to balance your life and say, okay, I am here, I am making progress, I'm going somewhere. And somebody is busy praying to God and wants to come to the level where you want to live and move. That's the way life is. When you understand life like that, you will enjoy it and you will not have any problem. You will not be struggling with yourself. You just know that I'm making progress. I am, making progress in life, and things will come out right for me. Yes, I have an advice for you before I come to the end. Remember, my teachings are very short, but it's interesting that the way time flies, because these teachings are very, very interesting. He said, I have a few advice. I wrote them down. I said, advice number 1, determine to work on your mindset personally. You. Nobody will do. You can attend any amount of motivational meetings that you want to. They cannot change you if you personally, you have not made a decision to change. There's something they used to say when we were small, especially in primary school, humorously, that you need to sit down and read, that they can't break your skull, and put books inside it. They we used to laugh, but no, when you grew up, it will make sense. It's trying to say that nobody can take you and force you and change you. No, you have to change by yourself. He said, determine to work on your mindset with positive thinking and meditating always on the good things of life you want to come your way. Remember what I said earlier on, when I started my teaching, they said, where you are presently is as a result of your thoughts of past few years. So what do you want to be in future? You have to start thinking positively. The number 2 of my advice, he said, your mentality is where your destiny could be manufactured. So what are you doing with that? It's just like, when you have a place where you manufacture, let's say soap or body lotion. You don't make mistake there. You're careful, even your staff that you employ, so that they don't miss concussion and people will have problem with their skin. They will sue you. So it's the same. Now that you have realized that your mindset is where your future is being manufactured, you won't make mistake. You just have to be careful. What do I think? What am I thinking right now? I always use my husband because he's my pastor, he's my teacher, he's my mentor, he's my everything. He said sometimes you need to think about what are you thinking. Sometimes come to yourself and say, hey, this thought I'm thinking is not good. Hey, I want to stop it. Just like I told you, I normally tell in my teachings, myself that teaching, I'm not perfect. It comes to me. Sometimes, the devil can even bring the thought, what about if your children, they call you now, they have accident? I say, I bind you that voice in Jesus' name. It can't happen. What am I trying to do? I am trying to deal with that negative mindset. It comes to anybody, even bishop, pope, whoever you are, your rank. It comes, even millionaires, it comes. But the difference is how do they handle it? Some people, when that thought come, oh, you nurture it, you start thinking about it, you're in trouble. Because it will definitely come to pass. Yeah, number 3, he said, practically and consciously change your mindset. Most of the time, I'll already explain the point before I get to it, but it's good. But he said, you consciously, just like I said, nobody will force you. You have to do it yourself consciously and practically, change your mentality, your mindset. Number 4, they say you cannot change your life until you change your mentality. Your life cannot change. It's being produced here, so you have to start here. So you say you cannot change it until you change your mindset. Number 5, say the way you say yourself is the way others have explained they see yourself. Yeah, dignity, whether you're dignified, whether poverty, pitiable. Some people, when they go in education, they start looking at themselves, the way they dress, they do feeling somehow. No. Sometimes, even if you're wearing a cheap dress, the way you carry yourself, people will not even know. People will not even notice. Sometimes you can even wear a very expensive dress, a very expensive clothes, well branded, and the way you carry yourself, people will not even value you. So let's go on. Negative mindset attracts negative things. So you have explained this earlier on. The way your mindset is, whether good things or bad things will come to you. Excuse me. See yourself the way God sees you. Remember I said earlier on, nobody is a mistake. Whether your biological friend, there are even some people, they don't even know their father because their mother slept with different men. She doesn't even know who the father is. That cannot determine your destiny. It has nothing to do with your destiny. If you can connect with God, whatever God has planned for you to be, you will become. So that one is, by the way, it's you personally. What do you want in life? Don't allow those things. Remember I said, when you think so much about your background, it keeps you back to the ground. So don't allow your background to keep you to the ground. So what do you want to become in life? Do you want to You know, there's this guy that was brought up in an orphanage home. Oh my goodness, that didn't stop him. He went to, I know most of these orphanage homes in the most civilized world, like here in South Africa, they give them scholarships and all that, you know. They even from primary school, most of the schools, as long as they go with the documents of the orphanage home, they don't pay school fees. They go to school free, primary, secondary, you know, university and all that. So this guy, while he was still there, in his mind, he was, you know, having this mindset of being a help to that particular orphanage home and other children that are in other orphanage homes. And he graduated, he became a big man, and he came and established that orphanage home more than it used to be when he was there. And he started helping other orphanages around the country, not only where he was brought up. What happened while he was being brought up in that orphanage home, his mindset was already flying. He was thinking, how can I help other children? So that's the way it should be. Don't allow your background to say, oh, my parents, they are not rich. Why can't you change your mindset that said, I want to change things. I want to, maybe my father didn't drive a car. I want to buy him a car. Or my mom, most people will say they want to build a house for their mom. That is wonderful. It is being conceived here and it will come to pass. Not most people, you know, there are some people that said, my father is a failure. That, you know, to be telling their children that's why they're a failure. That is nonsense. That means even in your mindset, you are a failure. Oh, wonderful. You know, I say time always flies. You know, in this wonderful teaching. I don't really like taking much of people's time. But finally, I want to say that when you maintain a positive mindset, you will attract positive things to your life. When you maintain a positive mindset, definitely they will come to your life. It is as easy as that. It's as easy as SBC, but it has to do with you. You have to maintain it. Keep maintaining. Remember the example I gave about myself. It will come. Definitely can come like a chip. It can come like a thought. But how do you do with it? Do you start nursing it? It's true. What this? They know. You have to say, I reject this thought immediately, and it will go. So it's the same. Please, whenever negative thought comes to you, you have to deal with it immediately. Don't even think about it. Or even start trying to nurture it. Oh, that is wonderful. We have come to the end of today's teaching, and I hope you have gotten a thing or two to help you and also to help someone else out there. Remember, that's what life is all about, to be a blessing to someone and to, you know, put a smile on their faces. Remember, I always say that if you have been blessed with this teaching, let someone else know so that they can be blessed also. You know somebody who is struggling with their children that are youth, or even a youth that is struggling, or even some teachers in a youth organization, you know, that don't even know how to handle the youth. See, a lot of them, they complain. This teaching is for them. So keep a date with me next week on this same page of Chat Room with Dr. Victory. I will be bringing another wonderful topic, you know, that concerns the youths of today. Till then, have a blessed weekend and see you next week. I love you. Bye.